Coming up on News 2, candidates and residents eagerly awaiting the certification of the primary elections on Tuesday were disappointed. We have scenes from the last night of ballot counting, and we'll have an update. Plus, the VI Parole Board announces the release of 13 inmates, including 5 who were serving time for murder. Plus, have you seen this vehicle? Police need your help. Hello, welcome, and thanks for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. Topping our newscast tonight, Tuesday was the last day to receive mail-in ballots for the primaries. With the race being tight for some of the candidates, it's no wonder they flocked to the election offices Tuesday night in hopes of getting that final tally. News 2's April Knight was there Tuesday to bring scenes from the count and the latest unofficial election results.
It's Tuesday night. We're here at the election system offices in St. Thomas, and inside are candidates and concerned residents who are watching closely as the last of the ballots for the primary elections are counted. Or so we all thought. This audience became sorely disappointed as no certification was in sight at the end of the night. St. Thomas printed out unofficial results that do not include data from some 170 hand-counted ballots. On St. Croix, their latest results were run on August 4th and do not include data from 120 mail-ins, 7 provisional ballots, and 13 ballots with discrepancies. These are the latest unofficial tallies as of Tuesday afternoon. For Governor Donna Christensen still came out ahead with 3,498 votes. That's more than 1,200 votes ahead of Fonzie Donistorg. For Delegate to Congress, Stacey Plaskett is 728 votes ahead of closest contender Sean Michael Malone. In the senatorial race on St. Thomas, incumbents are holding strong at the top. Clifford Graham in first place, followed by Myron Jackson. Newcomer Gene Ford holds steady at third place. Marvin Blyden is still hanging at 7th spot, with Sean Georges only 33 votes behind. On St. Croix, newcomers Kurt Vialet and Novelle Francis hold on to the top spots. Diane Capehart is at number 7, with Paulie Arnold only 43 votes behind. Again, these results do not include data from up to 310 hand-counted ballots, mail-ins, provisionals, and questionable ballots from both districts. But the race seems already won for some of these candidates. The boards have until August 17th to certify the primary elections. Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Now, in other news, if you were awake on St. Thomas late Tuesday night, you may have felt it. An earthquake registering 4.9 in magnitude on the Richter scale shook the island around 11:05 p.m. The quake's epicenter was located about 30 miles northwest of St. Thomas at latitude 18.7 degrees north and longitude 65.1 degrees west at a depth of about 24 miles. Many on St. Thomas used social media to report shaking felt near homes in areas like Point Pleasant and downtown Shalamali. The quake was also reportedly felt in numerous areas of Puerto Rico. Now, no reports of injury or damage was reported to Vaitima's 911 Emergency Communications Center, and no tsunami warning has been issued for the Virgin Islands or surrounding areas or the surrounding region, and that's according to Vaitima officials. They are encouraging you, however, to register for VI Alert at www.vaitima.gov to receive life safety alerts and notifications via text message, voicemail, and or email. In other news, police are still no closer to finding the suspects responsible for 3 recent robberies. VIPD spokeswoman Melody Rames said Wednesday night that they haven't made any arrests in the racetrack robbery, the Mid-Island Federal Credit Union holdup, or the Crucian Gold heist on St. Croix. 3 gunmen robbed the racetrack's Racino last month, and just last week, 3 suspects pistol-whipped and robbed a patron at the credit union. 3 perpetrators also tied up the employees and robbed Crucian Gold for cash and jewelry. Meanwhile, police are asking for the public's help to identify the people who may have been driving this red convertible Chrysler Sebring. Anyone who has seen it parked, been a passenger, or knows who drives it, you're asked to call detectives. It has not been registered in some time, according to officials. The pictures are posted on the VIPD's website as well as their Facebook page. Police have not confirmed whether or not this is the red sedan seen leaving the scene in last week's robberies. 14 inmates are free after the Parole Board authorized their release. The board held hearings in June, and those decisions were approved recently. Not all the prisoners up for parole were released. NEWS2's Erica Parsons has more on how the process works and who was let go.
14 convicts have been set free.
We've read a few days ago that the Parole Board authorized the release of a few inmates, right?
Yeah. More than 30 inmates were up for parole earlier this year. The VI Parole Board, after careful consideration in June, granted the release for 14 of them. 5 convicted of second-degree murder, 2 for drug possession, 2 imprisoned for burglary charges, 1 for grand larceny, another convicted of aggravated rape, 1 sentenced for fraud, 1 convicted on gun possession charges, and another for third-degree assault. In order to be eligible for parole, an inmate has to serve at least half their sentence. Not everyone is eligible.
If your sentence knocks you up on parole based on the time span or for example, murder number 1, which automatically knocks you out, you cannot be eligible. You will not be eligible for parole. But it has to be based on a particular sentence. But the majority of inmates don't fall into that category.
Once an inmate has served the required time to be eligible for parole, they must pass a psychological evaluation to continue. Once that's done, the real process begins.
We contact the victim or witness that was involved in the inmate's case and giving them the opportunity to come either personally and testify, or they can do it by telephone, or they have the option of sending a letter.
A packet is given to the board with a psych evaluation, a summary progress report, sentence data record, and a number of supporting documents. 12 conditions for release are also included, which the inmate has to agree to. The parole board has absolute authority over who is released.
Isn't the governor the final arbiter in the decisions of the parole board?
No, Senator. The parole board makes its decisions, and then the inmate is released or he is sent back to us.
3 board members must vote yes for the inmate to be released. Erica Parsons, NEWS2.
3 of the released inmates were deported since they weren't U.S. residents. The parole process is voluntary, and an inmate can decide not to apply. Some sad news. The community mourns the passing of the Honorable Terrence A. Todman, a career ambassador who served the country across the globe for almost 50 years. Todman passed away Wednesday morning. He was 88. VI delegate to Congress Donna Christensen on Wednesday said a native son of St. Thomas, career ambassador Todman is credited with guiding our country through some of the difficult relationships and challenges, and he paved the way for other people of color to succeed and eventually hold leadership positions in the U.S. State Department. Career Ambassador Todman began his distinguished career with the service in the U.S. Army from 1945 to 1949. From 1954 to 1957, he served as an advisor to U.S. delegations to the United Nations General Assembly and U.S. representative on various trusteeship council committees. Although he was retired since 1993, Ambassador Todman has remained active, serving on corporate and community boards from Argentina to the U.S. Virgin Islands. Senator Kenneth Gittens said Ambassador Todman's contributions go beyond the waters of the Caribbean as he served his country in various capacities. On the sad occasion of his passing, Senator Sean Michael Malone said he conveys his deepest condolences to his wife, Doris, and his 4 children. Condolences to the family as well from all of us here at CBS TV2. Turn our attention overseas. Protests continued in Ferguson, Missouri Wednesday, and violence erupted following another police-involved shooting. CBS's Mark Strassman reports.
Violence in Ferguson, Missouri continued Wednesday morning following a police shooting. St. Louis County police officers wounded a suspect after being threatened by a handgun.
Turn around. Go back where you came from.
Just a few blocks away, protesters had largely dispersed after going face-to-face with heavily armed officers earlier in the evening. Late Tuesday, hundreds of supporters from Michael Brown's family packed a St. Louis church calling for more peaceful action over the death of the 18-year-old. He was unarmed when he was shot by a Ferguson police officer last Saturday.
Whatever our differences are, it's time for us to stand as one.
Calls for officials to release more information about Saturday's shooting, including the name and race of the officer who shot the teenager, have gone unanswered. James Knowles is Ferguson's mayor. He says the name of the officer is not being released to protect him.
I know this officer has been receiving threats, and though his name is not even known.
Knowles says Ferguson has never faced a racial divide before, but adds its police officers can improve the recruiting of minority officers. According to the 2010 census, about 2/3 of Ferguson's population is black, but just 3 of the 53 members of the town's police department are black.
Nothing can excuse what you did to my son.
Leslie McSpadden has expressed outrage and frustration over her son's death. She wants the officer responsible to come forward.
You take your punishment. And if you're a man, you stand up, you be a man, you say, I was wrong.
Tune in to CBS Evening News at 7:30 for the latest. Meanwhile, keeping our eye on the economy, if you want to snag a top-paying job, it may pay to go to medical school. A new report from CareerCast says that 7 of the top-paying jobs in the U.S. are in the healthcare industry. Surgeons rank at the top of the list, making an average of $233,000 annually. GPs, psychiatrists, and orthodontists also make the top 5. While air traffic controllers, podiatrists, and attorneys round out the top 10, all making in excess of $110,000 a year on average. Well, here's a look at the New York Stock Exchange with our Stock Market Watch. The Dow, Nasdaq, S&P all up. The Dow 91, Nasdaq 44, S&P 12. Coming up on News 2, school begin in the territory on September 2nd. We will share some back-to-school news to get students prepared with our special feature. Meanwhile, our Summer Fun segment continues, taking you to the highest point on St. Thomas. We'll be right back. Well, ever been to the highest point on St. Thomas? It's time for our Summer Fun segment. St. Thomas's mountaintop is a very popular destination in the Virgin Islands, hosting hundreds of thousands of visitors. At an elevation of 2,100 feet, it is the highest point on St. Thomas. Now, in the 1940s, just a little history lesson, St. Thomas Mountaintop was long occupied by the U.S. government. It was used as a strategically sound communications hotspot known as Signal Hill. Mountaintop's elevation was seen as an advantage. At the vantage point, more than 20 islands surrounding Signal Hill could be viewed easily with the naked eye. Now, they are known for the banana daiquiris they produce, and there is a history lesson for that as well. Make sure you walk with your camera and credit card. You will experience breathtaking views of Magens Bay, Drake's Passage, and you can even have lunch and get some shopping in as well. Well, are you ready to hear the sound of love? Recording artist Kenya Eugene and a benefit concert is coming up in which she shares the love and the SOA group. They're presenting, along with Kidscope, The Sound of Love featuring Kenya. Also performing will be the Flip Switch Band on Saturday, August 16th from 7 to 10 p.m. at the Marriott's. There will be a cocktail reception, and proceeds of the show will benefit Kidscope. The Christian singer has performed on the same stage as Morgan Heritage, Desiree, and she has opened for artists such as Wyclef Jean, Big Mountain, and has opened for and performed with India Ari. Now, Kidscope serves children from birth to age 18 who are victims of abuse, and we'll hear more from both agencies as well as Kenya on Thursday's newscast. Frederick South Health Center continues to celebrate National Health Centers Week. On Wednesday afternoon, the agency offered free screenings at their North Shore location in La Grande Princess. They checked blood pressure, glucose, and cholesterol. They also offered free AIDS testing. Now, the free screenings will continue on Thursday for farmers at the Department of Agriculture from 8 to 10 a.m. On Friday, all of Frederick Health Center's locations will be closed to recognize their employees. All screenings are free again and open to the public. Mark this on your calendar. On Monday, August 18th, 2014, Senator Terrence Positive Nelson, in collaboration with the University of the Virgin Islands, will be hosting a medical cannabis forum, a discussion with doctors, the real benefits of cannabis. That's the title of the meeting. This is an effort to educate the community on the medicinal benefits of the plant. The doctors and medical professionals will discuss their position regarding the use of cannabis or marijuana as medicine with the public and amongst themselves. There will also be an opportunity for questions and answers. In addition, a documentary will be shown at 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. Now it's time for our back-to-school checklist. Orientation and class schedule distribution will take place at Charlotte Amalie High School on August 26th, along with September 2nd and 3rd in the school's auditorium. Students must report in proper school uniform, accompanied by their parents, and present a photocopy of their updated immunization record. The following fees will also be due: $15 for ID, $17 for school accident insurance, and $10 for PTSA dues. Now here are the dates. Tuesday, August 26th from 8 a.m. 9th graders with last names from A to L. And then on Tuesday, August 26th at 12 noon, 9th graders with last names from M to Z. Tuesday, September 2nd, 8 a.m., 10th graders. And then Tuesday, September 2nd from 12:30 p.m., 11th graders. And then Wednesday, September 3rd at 8 a.m., 12th graders. In an update on the Coral Bay School, the second scoping meeting to update residents on government efforts to build a new school on St. John gave project architects a chance to discuss the recent findings of an archaeological survey conducted on the NPS proposed site in Estate Catherineburg. The meeting was held on St. John recently. John Woods, the architect leading the GVI project team, indicated that based on the Phase 1 archaeological findings, a school can be accomplished on the site without interfering with the easternmost historical findings on the property. He was joined by Public Works Commissioner Darrell Smalls, who stated that there will be more studies necessary. The full archaeological survey is currently being reviewed by National Park Service archaeologists in Tampa, Florida. Well, be sure to stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast is coming up next.